Hey, this is Sully for Anti-Social News Body Count Report for Tuesday, October the 3rd, 2017. And I'm going to be showing you some world news stories where people are fighting for their lives or losing them all around the world because human life is the only precious thing that we have here. And we are going to first jump to Israel, where it is always a life or death struggle to live in Israel. There's a lot of threats from externally and internally, which is why Prime Minister Netanyahu is working with the Likud members of the Knesset to try to incorporate 19 settlements. And these settlements are active communities where people live and work and raise families. There's people of multiple ethnicities and races that live together and work there. It's not just a Jewish thing. It's also people. It's just a life thing, and these people will become officially part of the greater Jerusalem area and be part of the government of Israel. All that is around here is part of Jerusalem, part of Israel. We are going to accelerate significantly the building here. The Prime Minister announced today that we will invest millions of dollars, billions of shekels here to enlarge and widen the roads here, to add more building here. Like saying here. That is the beginning of the right way to implement Israeli law over all of Judea and Samaria. Click at it. So, very interesting. Very biblical language there. But Judea and Samaria. Okay, cool stuff. It is a very serious issue that Israel has the right to exist. And like I said, it's a life-death situation, internal, external threats constantly. And the settlements are, I really want people to red pill themselves on the settlements if they think that the settlements are, I've heard the words concentration camps thrown around regarding the settlements. So literally people not knowing what these things are at all. They are literally just people living and working and sustaining themselves off of what was a barren land that is now transformed into a successful town. So there you go. Moving on, we are going to the Catalan crisis. Where next for the Catalan crisis? 5 possible scenarios. Another well-written story out of the Irish Times. The Irish Times, they're so removed from everything up there in their island that they have a good vantage point. So check this out. Very well-written article. And the world is pretty upset about this this crazy situation here, as well we all should be. Basically, the people of Catalonia want independence. The Spanish government, Catalonia is part of Spain at the moment. The Spanish people want the Catalonian people want independence. They do a referendum. They try to vote for independence. The Spanish police come in and kick the crap out of them. There's some horrific video of the subject where there's fighting going on at the polling places, and they're trying to confiscate polls and voting boxes and stuff. It's pretty nightmarish suppression of democracy, but we're still waiting on the results to come out. They voted, the people that did manage to vote voted overwhelmingly to secede from Spain. So waiting to see what comes of this. They have 48 hours to declare independence. And this happened yesterday. Okay. This was a story out of Korea that I just was very shocked by. Korea Times is normally very benign, not a lot of crime happening in Korea. Um, uh, most of the articles in Korea Times I see are about world news concerns, such as their neighbor to the north, obviously, is a big concern for them. But yeah, then I stumbled upon this story. Trigger warning. You're looking at babies. Yep. Authorities seize more than 8,500 human flesh pills. Mm. More than 8,500 pills made from baby flesh have been found over the past 3 years, a Maine opposition party lawmaker said Tuesday. The pills, allegedly made from the flesh of aborted or stillborn babies, were mostly smuggled from China in the false belief they are good for health. I just want to stop and say, as an American, there's a lot of studies done to say that there is a lot of health research done on aborted fetuses about the stem cells, but just eating fetuses is not how you get those stem cells in your system. You're just eating human. That's all. These are just cannibal pills. That's all they are. It's just cannibalism. This is such a horrific story. And also the fact that there would be such an abundance of human meat to get your hands on in China is pretty shocking. You know, yep, link to this story in the description of this video. And then this was a shocker. Normally when I go to Ynet News, I'm going to see Israel news. And what did I see today? Philippine regional news. Breaking news. Philippine police say 2 Swedes wounded in rebel attack. So that was shocking. And guess who's the rebels in this situation? Philippine police say 2 Swedish citizens and their Filipino driver were wounded, apparently in crossfire, when communist guerrillas in PA attempted to attack a police car in a central province. So that's Ynet reporting. So of course I had to dig around and find it in a trusted Filipino source. Here it is from Inquirer. 3 in Negros Occidental ambush. 3 hurt. Bacolod City. 2 visiting foreigners. They were Swedes, not just foreigners. Specifically Swedes and a Negrense were wounded in an ambush staged by suspected New People's Army rebels on Tuesday afternoon along the national highway of Sitio Buta, Barangay Kaliling, Kaoayan town in Negros Occidental. That has 1, 2, 3, 4 names. And this is the name of the island. Okay. Yep. Interesting story. NPA is messing up. I gotta, they were a little wacky. They were a little crazy. They got into some scuffles with authority. They did some crazy stuff. So wacky, I put them in my logo. But they are messing up too much. I'm going to have to take them out of my logo. I don't want them defining antisocial news. So from here forth, next logo is not going to have NPA in there, except maybe the real cringy cosplayer. I might put him in there. Okay. Shooting Swedes, that's a bad idea. See, this is what's going to happen if they keep messing up. You're going to get international attention, like these scary Russians running into your country. You don't want that. Russia denies ISIS claim of 2 captured servicemen. Now, I put this story in here because, A, I want to talk about how Russia is very heavily involved in the Syria-Iran conflict, where ISIS is butting heads with everybody and pissing everybody off, and then Russia is helping fight ISIS, so Russia is becoming a very big state actor there. And then ISIS is using a very interesting tactic, which, of course, they just used on us here in the United States yesterday when they claimed credit for the shooting. They're using dishonest journalism, shall we say? Sorry, I just get so sick of hearing the term fake news thrown around. But basically, the ISIS people are claiming stuff that is, according to Russian defense, demonstrably not true. So there you go. Is this an act of desperation? Is this a sign that ISIS is in fact being defeated since they are lying about stuff now? They're lying about capturing soldiers. They're lying about doing terrorist attacks. Are they just basically a guy behind a computer declaring their great deeds around the world? You know, a guy basically doing what I do, finding terrible things around the world, but then adding on to it that he's taking credit for all the terrible things. I mean, is that what this has come to? Is this a good story about how ISIS is finally being defeated? Maybe. Link in the description. Thank you, RT.com, for this story. And out of Manila Times. Also, shame on you, Manila Times. I did not find the story that I was looking for, the one that I mentioned, from Negros Occidental. I didn't find it in your region section, so I think you're slipping. Ynet is taking your job. Okay, Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters faction executes 4 traitor members. So Bangsamoro is the group that is closest to the Moro Islamic Freedom Fighters, and that being the case, they are butting heads with them, and the Moro Islamic Freedom Fighters have been beating the crap out of them and shooting them up pretty bad. So the federal government's only had to take them out a few times, but now they're eating themselves. They're killing their own people. This is a very interesting article if you're following the very interesting saga of the ISIS crisis in Mindanao. Check this out. It is kind of a telling tale too of these violent organizations. When they split up, they just sort of keep fractioning off into different organizations. And they're trying to maintain their solidity as a group, but they're just killing their own people now. Crazy. All right, now this is probably the story in the Philippines that everybody knows about, which is the EJK, extrajudicial killings. And this is where, okay, we have a lot of acronyms to go through here. The Philippine National Police, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, CBCP, and EJK, extrajudicial killings. So basically, the head of the police in the Philippines is saying, hey, don't just let any cop hide out in the church and get sanctuary so that he can testify against the Duterte administration, because you're going to get a bunch of dirty cops. Because that is one of the things that Duterte was after, was dirty cops who are not doing their job, and instead they're making friends with criminals and drug dealers, and they are druggies and drug dealers themselves. So Duterte has been trying to flush those guys out. So the PNP is stating, like, hey, if you let yourself get suckered into babysitting all these cops who are trying to squeal, you're going to have some bad guys in there. So now, of course, that is a very much a party line position. So Senator Grace Poe chimed in with a more metered response, where she clarified that Senator Grace Poe reiterated her statement on Monday welcoming policemen seeking church sanctuary to be able to testify on the drug killings, and said their safety should be guaranteed. It's very difficult to be a whistleblower. We haven't passed the Whistleblowers Act. I hope the Whistleblowers Act will finally hurdle the Senate and Congress to provide funding for witness protection and a process for those who want to come out. They can't live in the church, right? She told the reporters on Tuesday. Poe agreed with the PNP chief that police witnesses should be vetted. We have to. Seeking refuge in the church doesn't mean you're telling the truth, the lawmaker said. So, like I said, a very metered response. So she knows that not all the cops hiding out there are necessarily nice guys, but they should be given due process, allowed to speak, and sanctuary in their time of need. Oh, okay. Whether you are a foreigner traveling in a land that has hardcore communist guerrilla fighting, or if you are a police officer trying to blow the whistle on a corrupt administration, it's true that we're all out here trying to fight for our lives. So everybody stay safe. This is it's been a rough week so far. But I'll be here for you through Body Count Report Monday through Friday, like I've done consistently. And I'm going to keep it up. Just so you know, human life is precious, and I'm keeping an eye on it. Good night.